Good morning, students. Today, let's take up direct and indirect speech. And although this is something which I have done before with you, and although you have been doing this ever since your middle school days, still it is worth going through once again. Let's have a look at a few examples to understand how exactly these transformations are done. So here on your screen, you can see I have taken the text from a different book like I am doing nowadays. I am trying to give you things from other reference books and other related textbooks which are relevant for your course. So this is not from exactly from your total English textbook, but from yet another textbook which is also meant for the ISC English language. Now, here you can see there are two ways of expressing the words of a speaker. Number one, we may quote within quotation marks the speaker's own actual words. This is called direct speech. And number two, we may tell what the speaker said without quoting the exact words. This is called indirect speech. Now, you all know this. Now, let's see some examples to understand better. Direct speech, he said to me, I am singing a song. Notice that there are two verbs in this sentence. One is the reporting verb, which is outside inverted commas. That verb is said. The other verb is within inverted commas, and that verb is singing, and also am. So you see, we have to transform any sentence from direct speech to indirect speech on the basis of the reporting verb. If the reporting verb is in past tense, then whatever we have within inverted commas will also change into past tense. That means the verb inside inverted commas or the verbs inside inverted commas should be also changed into past tense. So look at the answer. He told me that he was singing a song. So am singing is in present tense, present continuous tense, but when we remove the inverted commas, it becomes was singing, which is past continuous tense. So then next, look at this bold print. The following things are changed while changing a direct speech into indirect speech. Number one, we use some connective like that. We change the person. We change the verb. We change adverbs indicating time and distance. The pronouns of the direct speech are changed as under. Pronouns of the first person, that is I, we, mine, our, me, or us of the direct speech changes according to the person of the subject of the reporting verb as she says to me, I am ill. Now notice here the reporting verb is in present tense. Says, not said. So changing that into indirect speech, she tells me that she is ill. So you notice that I has changed into she and am has changed into is, not was, because the reporting verb in the question sentence was in present tense, so everything remains in present tense even after we remove the inverted commas. Look at another example. He says to me, I am ill. He tells me that he is ill. Always remember, whenever in direct speech, said is the word given. When you are converting into indirect speech, you should change said into told or says into tell or tells. Now let's see the pronoun of the second person, you, your, yours of the direct speech changes according to the person of the object of the reporting verb. As she says to me, you are busy. She tells me that I am busy. She says to him, you are busy. She tells him that he is busy. Look at these examples, the previous ones as well as these. Wherever we have changed from direct to indirect, we have made use of that. But remember, that is something which can be used only in case of statements. But in case of questions, you cannot use that. So let's move on to some more examples. Rules for change of verb, that is tense. See here, a simple present changes into a simple past tense. He said, I am well. He said that he was well. A present continuous tense changes into past continuous tense. We have already seen in the first example. He said, I am going to school. He said that he was going to school. Now, a present perfect changes into past perfect. He said, I have passed the examination. He said that he had passed the examination. A present perfect continuous tense similarly will change into past perfect continuous tense. Simple past tense will change into a past perfect tense. Now this is very important. If the tense inside inverted commas, if the tense of the verb used inside inverted commas is already past tense, then when you change from direct speech to indirect speech, you have to convert that simple past tense into past perfect tense. Look at this example. He said, I was writing a letter. He said that he had been writing a letter. So this is past perfect, past continuous tense changing into past perfect continuous tense. Now there is something important here. The shall or will of the future tense is changed into should or would. If the reporting verb is in present tense or future tense, the tense of the verb is not changed. Example, he said to me, I shall go to school. He told me that he would go to school. Remember, shall does not always change into should. Shall most of the times changes into would when you are transforming from direct to indirect. Don't get confused, and don't as a rule consider that shall should change into should. In most cases, shall changes into would, and will also changes into would, and should in some cases. So look at the next example. He says to me, I shall go to school. He tells me that he will go to school. See, I shall go to school. He tells me, says to me. That was in the verb was in present tense. The reporting verb was in present tense. So the answer should also be in present tense. And shall changes into will. Then he will say to me, I shall go to school. He will tell me that he will go to school. So these are some examples. Now let's look at the rules for the change of adverb or words indicating time and place. This is something which you also find in the High School English Grammar and Composition by Wren and Martin. So look here, now changes into that, then this changes into that, these becomes those, here becomes there, hither becomes thither, hence becomes thence, ago becomes before, today becomes that day, yesterday becomes the previous day, tomorrow becomes the next day, last night becomes the night before, tonight becomes that night. So here some more examples are provided. She said, I have no time to talk to you now. She said that she had no time to talk to me then. Actually, this should be me. When the person who is being addressed is not mentioned in the question sentence, then you have to consider that person as you yourself. So here they have used him, but I would suggest always make it me. So she said that she had no time to talk to me then. He said, I will speak here. He said that he would speak there. Then Mohan said he is going to Delhi tomorrow. Mohan said he is going to Delhi tomorrow. Mohan said that he was going to Delhi the next day. Now, the tenses may not change if the statement is still relevant or it is a universal truth. This also you know very well. Let's have a look. He said, the earth moves around the sun. He said that the earth moves around the sun. He said, honesty is the best policy. He said that honesty is the best policy. You cannot make it was. Okay, so in case of a statement which is relevant even today as it was before, so you cannot change the tense in that case, or something which is universally true like the sun or the earth, related to the sun, related to the earth, then you have to retain the present tense. So here you can see in reporting questions, when it is questions, like I was telling you in the beginning, in case of interrogative direct speech sentences, you have to convert into indirect by making use of something else but not that. You are not supposed to use the word that. Look here. If the question is introduced by an auxiliary verb, the changes that may take place are: he said to her, "Are you going to leave this place tomorrow?" He asked her if she was going to leave that place the next day. He said, "Will you listen to such a man?" He asked him whether he would listen to such a man. Look at this word, whether. You can either use whether or use if. Then his mother said to me, "Do you suppose you know better than your father?" His mother asked me if I supposed I knew better than my father. So, if the question is introduced by a question word, the changes that may take place are as follows. Look here. I said to him, "Who are you?" I asked him who he was. So, all these examples I suggest you go through. Then you have commands and requests. In reporting commands and requests, the indirect speech is introduced by some verb expressing command or request, and the imperative mood is changed into the infinitive. That means imperative is something commanding or requesting will change into infinitive. Infinitive means where you are using the word to with a verb together as a phrase, then it's called an infinitive. Look at this. He said, "Be quiet and listen to my words." He urged them to be quiet. See, to be is an infinitive. To be quiet and listen to his words. He shouted, "Let me go." He shouted to let him go. To let is an infinitive. I said to him, "Obey your parents." I advised him to obey his parents. So in this way, you can look at these examples, and I am posting the PDF file also of these pages in the WhatsApp group, so that you can have a quick reference to that. I have just explained here for a little bit for you, so that you have a clearer idea, and then you can do the exercises that I give you in the WhatsApp group, which is also being provided in the PDF format. And I'll be discussing the answers in a separate video, which I will be providing after you complete your work. So that's it. Now start with your work. Thank you very much.